What's up, beautiful people? It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video, and it's titled "Woke White Liberals Think This About Black People." Okay, interesting. I'm excited to check this one out to hear what they've got to say. Let's check it out.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all is good wherever you are. In this video, we're going to watch Malik from Man vs. Street. He's going to be hitting the pavement, talking to some black Americans and some white Americans about voter ID. Now, these guys, they do great work on their channel, so go check them out if you have a second. It is not an easy job having to go out into the world and talk to leftoids all day, so they're doing good work out here. And big shout out to all my regulars who are always showing up for me, hitting the like button, commenting down below. I appreciate all of you. Now, let's get into the video.
Do you think voter ID laws are racist?
I think so.
Most of the motivation behind them being put into place is rooted in racism.
I think voter ID laws are inherently discriminatory. When you look, the vast majority of people who do not currently have IDs are people of color.
Do you have an ID?
Absolutely.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
What do you have to say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
I don't even know why they would say that. We can get the same things that every other American can get. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Republicans are just trying to make it really fucking hard for minorities to vote.
Why do they do that?
Because they hate black people. They fucking hate black people and they're racist.
The black population is like historically much more financially disadvantaged.
All Republicans are racist. That just came out of his mouth. All Republicans are racist, as he's standing there telling us that it's harder for black people to get voter ID than it is for white people. Come on, brother. Come on now. I mean, this girl with the hat. Tell me you have your pronouns in your bio without telling me you have your pronouns in your bio.
Today we can sometimes see that sort of continuation of racism through our voting system in education and things like that. And typically people who are less educated are less likely to vote.
You're disproportionately making people who don't have IDs, which are usually people of color, have to go out and pay to vote, which is going to disencourage a lot of those people from voting.
Do you have an ID?
I do,
Can you show us your ID?
for sure.
What would you say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
Seek help. I mean, in America, the legacy of white supremacy, of perpetuating negative stereotypes for black and brown bodies. That's why they would think like that, but it's 2023, man, almost 2024. It's time to seek help for that.
Amen, sisters. Seek help. These same Muppets are the same people that just a couple of years ago would have wanted you to show a vaccine ID in order to order food at Starbucks. But identification to vote for the highest office in your country, that's a no-no. Make it make sense. These people must not have any black friends or know any black people. If you're a citizen of the country, an actual citizen of the country and not an illegal, if you're born there, you'll have ID. If you've immigrated there legally, while you're going through the immigration process, the government does that for you. They give you the papers, you file for your ID.
So do you think voter ID laws suppress the African American vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
They might require a specific type of ID, when I had to get a new passport, it was over $100, so that definitely also roots out the lower classes in general.
They're not going to want to vote if they have to go spend all that money to be able to do so.
A lot of minorities are suffering from poverty. When you make people pay money to get IDs, a lot of times people just won't vote. They won't think it's worth it. They don't have the extra money to spend, you know? Yeah, they're not going to put the couple dollars that they have into voting for somebody who's probably not even going to help them out.
The couple of dollars that they have, and the girl before that said, well, a passport's $100, so minorities wouldn't be able to afford that. What is going on here? Did you just think all black people are broke or don't drive cars? I mean, you need an ID to get around in the world. You can tell that these people went to these very liberal universities by the terms that they use in these videos. And the man before her that was speaking said, hey, there's nothing that white people can do in America that black people can't do in America. Man, exactly.
Do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Before we go on, I'm trying to understand why all these people are using black people as an example, or people of color as an example. I'm just saying this from a good place because I'm trying to understand, and you can tell that these people are not informed, they are not educated enough, they are just going or following by the conversation or things they hear from other people. And this right here is an information it's old. I don't even know anywhere that people go to vote without their ID. So what are they trying to say? Are they trying to say that people, to get an identification card, people don't have to pay money, or people don't have to pay for the identification card? Or are they trying to say that black people can't afford to own an ID? Or because, like, it's crazy. It honestly don't make sense. And the funniest part is, okay, we already have 2 people here that have ID, but it's funny how these people think that people of color don't have ID. Like, make it make sense. Yeah, lots of people might not want to get a passport because they don't see the need for it. Or lots of people don't want to get international passport because they don't need it at that time. Doesn't mean they can't afford it. I mean, where are these people even getting their knowledge from? But this is interesting because literally these are the exact same liberal talking points, and you know their talking points when they open their mouths to talk. Let's go on.
Do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Can you show us your ID?
Okay.
Perfect. What do you have to say to all the people that say that black Americans can't get voter ID?
Well, I think it's pretty stupid. Like, we're in a country where all of us are majority educated and we have the resources at our hands and our disposal to easily find these things. So I think anybody saying that is just dumb. Like, that's a really ignorant and stupid thing to say.
Why do you think it's so much harder for black Americans to obtain voter ID?
It's generally the history of racism. Like, we say we fixed it, but the system was basically built from the ground up in racism.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Yes, I do.
Why?
In the past, we've seen, African Americans being given like tests that have nothing to do with what voting is about, just in order to obtain a voting license or voter identification. So I think that that's something that we're still seeing remnants of today.
So what do you have to say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
I say it's really a lie. It's all on really the person. If the person really want to get their ID, they can go get it. It's nothing really stopping them.
Why do you think it's harder for black Americans to obtain voter ID?
Well, it's a class issue, and because of systemic racism, it's usually people of color, so black Americans, who are at the bottom of the socioeconomic classes, which means that they will have the most trouble, like, having to pay to go get voter ID law or voter IDs.
You motherfuckers racist as hell. Why the fuck wouldn't black people have that? What's the difference between us and you?
Exactly. What is the difference? The young fella before him was struggling to get through his politically correct talking points. Give me a break. The education system in the West is completely broken right now.
Do you think it's harder for black Americans to sign up online to get their voter ID?
Harder, not necessarily, but less likely, yes.
Why?
In underfunded communities due to, redlining and gerrymandering, we see that there's lower education in those specific areas, which have a high amount of, minorities. And when you're less educated, you're less likely to vote. And I think that that's what makes it so difficult for people of color to vote.
Seek help. Medical professionals are everywhere. Mental health is a priority. And yeah.
Man, exactly. Seek help. Oh my God. This is where you really see that the universities that these kids are going to are just brainwashing the crap out of them. I reacted to a Michael Knowles video a few days back, and he said something that stuck with me is white liberals are very good at being offended on the behalf of others. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. These white leftist liberal students thinking that most black people are poor, thinking that they can't get their own ID. Like, do they not see black people in their communities, working with them, going to school with them? Do these people not have IDs? And I'll say the same thing that I said at the beginning of this video. During the pandemic, these would be the same nut jobs that would be requiring everybody to have a vaccine ID in order to get a cup of coffee or a takeout meal. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make this stuff up. Go subscribe to Man vs. Street. Go check out their content. They do great stuff. There's 3 main guys on the channel, Joel, Malik, I forget the other fellow's name. The content is really good.
I'm trying to understand, like, how do they think that black people are aliens or black Americans are aliens, that they can't afford a ID or identification card. I'm not even understanding what is running through the mind. And these are the exact same people who go to school. They call themselves educated. They are educated, just like what the narrator said. And I was even about to ask, so these people are annoyed or angry on behalf of black Americans. Yet they go to school with some black Americans, because more than likely they would have black Americans in their school. So these people now, do they think the people of color in their school don't have ID? Like, it's making it harder for black Americans to vote. So who are the people? If black Americans don't vote in America, then what are they doing? Do they really think that black Americans don't vote in America? Minority. See, the system is built on systemic racism against black Americans. But fun fact is, these same black Americans, lots of them own cars. They have cars. So how do they get their driver's license? How? If they can't get the voter's ID, how do they get their driver's license? That must be really interesting. But this is an interesting conversation. Just like what the other lady said, seek help. They really need to seek help. And it just goes to show you how dumb these people are with their talking point to be like, the system is rigged, again, is built on racism against black people. They talk like black people aren't human beings, or like there is a separate world built in America that, oh, this one is just for I'm even trying to wrap my head around it because it's not making sense. Honestly, it isn't. But it's a beautiful thing to see that out of everything they said, all of the people here, especially the people of color that were interviewed here, had voters ID, and they had the exact same thing to share. They are no different than a white person. And I've said it before, just when black Americans think, or if black Americans think they are different than the white people, they are no different. You make up a good portion of American, just like the whites make a good portion of America. So you are Americans regardless. You, like, sometimes they just want to play or be in your head. But this is interesting, and honestly, these people really need to go back to school to read or to get informed, because I can't even believe that lots of these people go to school, they pay tuition fees to be brainwashed. But again, this is the society we live in. So this just goes to tell you that it's not only black people that are being brainwashed. Whites are also being brainwashed. So, I mean, just means that lots of people really need to educate themselves regardless of their skin color, because of course the people who put these laws in place, or who give these people the exact same talking point, want you to think otherwise, or want to brainwash you, or want to keep you under their thumb and to control you, because that is what they do. And they want you to believe in what they are saying, when sometimes it might not be true. This just goes to tell you, or just goes to show that black people are finally waking up, or black America is finally waking up, and they are not putting up with all of the BS or things that people continuously tell them to do. Because I mean, your vote is your right. You have the right to vote regardless of what anybody thinks or what anybody tells you. But apparently these white liberals, or this talking point that they're sharing here, goes to tell you that these people think that black America is still in bondage, or black America don't have rights in America, which don't make sense. But again, I love this one so far. Let me know what you think about this. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I really love your honest contribution. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.